welcome to Special Report for Thursday, August the 20th. Wow, totally wrong on the date there. That was last Thursday. Okay, welcome to Special Report for Thursday, August the 20th, brought to you by KC Securities. I'm Chris Oldcorn, and we are waiting for Doug Ford's announcement. Today he is at the OPP headquarters in Orillia. With him is the Solicitor General, Sylvia Jones. Thomas Carrique, who's the Commissioner of the Ontario Police, will be there, and so is Jill Dunlop, the MPP for Simcoe North. Now, we're going to quickly head over to... Oh, we're not? Oh, Doug Ford is going to be at the podium in under a minute, so we will look at the cases here in Ontario. We had 76 new cases of COVID-19 in the province announced today. However, 11 public health units had problem with the new system of reporting, and they did not report. However, those 11 health units combined for only 8 new cases the day before, so the number won't pop up too much higher than the 76. And our rolling 5-day average right now for cases in the province is at 96. It was as low as 80 at this point last week. It's popped up a little. Health Minister Christine Elliott said it's nothing to be concerned about because we are still trending downward over time. We're just kind of flatlining on how many new cases we have because the week before was at 89. And Doug Ford's there, and we're going over. Here we go.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Ontario Provincial Police, I would like to welcome the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Sylvia Jones, Solicitor General, His Worship Steve Clark, Mayor of Orillia, the Honourable Jill Dunlop, Member of Parliament for Simcoe North. Joining me today are members and representatives from the Ontario Provincial Police Association, President Mr. Rob Jamieson, Commissioned Officers Association President Mary Shannon, and Civilian Association of Managers and Specialists President Ms. Amanda Weaver. To our special guests in attendance, welcome and thank you for being here for this incredibly important announcement. As we address the well-being of our frontline officers, especially during these unprecedented and extremely challenging times. Before we begin, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the traditional territory on which we gather today. I wish to acknowledge the diversity of the First Peoples of this area and to honor the stewardship of the Anishinaabe, especially Ojibwe, Chippewa people. We are grateful to have the opportunity to gather on the Williams Treaty area of the Anishinaabe peoples. The Ontario Provincial Police is committed to serving our province by protecting its citizens, upholding the law, and preserving public safety. This announcement is another step forward in our collective efforts to support our people, enabling the OPP to deliver our mission of safe communities and a secure Ontario. Together, we're making changes to sustain a healthy, inclusive, resilient, and high-performing OPP. Our members and our communities deserve nothing less. Thank you, merci, miigwech, and now, I would like to welcome the Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford, to the podium. Premier?
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Commissioner Carrique, for that very warm welcome. It's great to be in Orillia at OPP headquarters. I want to recognize my incredible colleagues who are here today. Solicitor General Sylvia Jones, and I just call her the General. Fabulous person. Attorney General Doug Downey, Minister Dunlop, and MPP Khanjin. They've been working day in and day out for the people of Barrie, Orillia, and Simcoe County. I'd also like to thank Mayor Clark for joining us. He's a great mayor, by the way. He's incredible. There's a wonderful museum on site here showcasing the OPP's rich and vibrant history. You can view it virtually online, and the displays here are very, very impressive. Like the story of John Wright, the first black OPP officer who joined in 1960, having previously served his country in the Royal Canadian Air Force during World War II. John is one of the many men and women in uniform who pursued a higher calling to serve their community. You know, and everyone knows, I absolutely love our police officers. Look at those champions all along here. Absolutely incredible. I have to thank all of our police officers, including the OPP and the support staff, for being on the front lines during this pandemic to protect both public health and public safety. You're all, again, absolute champions. You make so many sacrifices to put your community first. And I know there are good days and there's bad days in the line of duty. Some days you get the crooks and the thugs and everyone walks away without a scratch. But other days you arrive and the situation can turn ugly. And we know many of our first responders struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. I want our OPP staff to know we'll always, and I emphasize, we'll always have your backs. We'll always have all the police's backs throughout Ontario. That's why our government provided $2.6 million earlier this year to hire mental health workers to support our OPP personnel. We worked with the OPP and the OPPA to set up a new program to provide 24/7 assistance to active and retired OPP staff on their journey to mental wellness. I have to thank Commissioner Creek and OPPA President Rob Jameson for working with us to deliver this new program. And I always have to thank them for their leadership, working to build trust and stronger ties within communities they serve. They've been working to remove barriers to hiring and promote diversity and inclusion through the Commissioners Inclusion Council. All recruits are receiving special training on working with our Indigenous communities, street checks, and mental wellness as part of their extensive training. And I know that the Commissioner recognizes that we all have more work to do in this important front. My friends, we're going to keep supporting our police so they can continue this important work. Now more than ever, we need to make sure the criminals out there face the justice they deserve. We need to protect our communities from the senseless violence. So today, I'm proud to announce here at OPP headquarters that we will be investing $25 million to hire 200 more OPP officers. That's 200 more boots on the ground. These new officers will be deployed to areas of greatest need across the province. They'll protect our communities, and we will keep looking out for our officers, just as they do, as they look out for us each and every day. Together, we will rebuild Ontario, a stronger, safer, more prosperous Ontario. Thank you, and God bless our police, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it to Solicitor General. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. Every day, Ontario's police officers put their lives on the line to protect us and our families. The COVID-19 emergency and recovery continue to be a reminder of how much we value our frontline workers and why we need to support their mental health and well-being in every way we can. The new hiring initiative we are announcing today is part of the continued steps our government is taking to improve the OPP's workplace culture and support OPP personnel as they go above and beyond to serve in our communities. This important recruitment of 200 additional officers responds to one of the key recommendations of the OPP Independent Review Panel, which is to safeguard the health and wellness needs of the OPP workforce by addressing shortages in the workplace. These new frontline officers will fill vacancies where the need is greatest, in regions that are short-staffed. This will provide much-needed support to our existing complement of officers and ensure public safety always comes first. This new initiative also builds on our recent investment of $2.6 million to hire new psychologists and other mental health workers to support OPP personnel. It is a comprehensive approach designed to build care for the men and women who protect our communities. As the Minister responsible for Ontario's emergency response, I can tell you how heartening it has been to see Ontarians come together to keep each other safe as our province gradually reopens and our economy restarts. Our police have been there at every step of the way, standing shoulder to shoulder with community members and always ready to offer a helping hand. I want to thank the OPP and all of Ontario's police services for the tremendous contributions you are making during these difficult times, each and every day, to protect and keep us safe. You are leaders in your community, and our government is determined to continue providing you with the supports, resources, and tools you need to serve and protect Ontarians. Thank you. I would now like to invite Mayor Steve Clark to the podium.
Well, thank you, and welcome one and all to the Sunshine City. Sometimes it's not just a metaphor, as you can well see. And it is my pleasure as Mayor of Orillia to be standing here at the General Headquarters of the Ontario Provincial Police. And the OPP and the City of Orillia have a very special relationship indeed. Our local detachment, which serves Orillia and our surrounding areas, is the largest in Ontario and soon to have their new facilities open. Central Region Headquarters is located here just on the other block. And as we all know by being here today, OPP is also the home, Orillia is also the home to the OPP General Headquarters. Truly a relationship with the OPP unlike that of any other municipality in Ontario. Members of the OPP are a valuable part of our community. They are our coaches, our volunteers, and a significant driver of our local economy. And I'm sure that we would all agree that theirs is a tough job indeed, often interacting with people in very difficult situations who are not experiencing their best days. And I know from conversations with our local detachment commander that issues related to COVID, the COVID pandemic, have exacerbated the negative aspects of many of those experiences. These types of interactions can take a toll, certainly physically, but also a significant mental toll. And that is, to me, why this announcement is particularly important, as part of this investment is earmarked for the mental health issues. And as Mayor of Orillia, and because of our special relationship, I am fortunate enough to attend OPP graduations when the new recruits, at the end of their training, are welcomed formally into the OPP family. Although I will add, COVID has put the brakes on some of those graduations recently. And I must say I've been impressed by how Commissioner Carrique has openly addressed mental health head-on at these graduation events. And now, to have that recognition by leadership turn into a tangible investment by Premier Ford and the province is quite commendable. It is vital that we keep our frontline officers physically and mentally well, and this investment should go a long way to doing just that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Carrique, Premier Ford, and Minister Jones. We know that across Ontario, the Ontario Provincial Police play a tremendous role in supporting our communities. Whether it's keeping local regions safe, helping victims of domestic violence, or tackling large province-wide crimes like human trafficking, we depend on them. With today's announcement, we are taking steps to ensure that our frontline officers have the support they need to continue to help build healthier and safer communities. I was able to speak about our announcement on the Proceeds of Crime grant recently, which has officers working with local communities on their needs. With the addition of these officers and the expanded training they are getting, I am confident that our neighborhoods will be safer. As Minister of Children and Women's Issues, I have seen how domestic violence, human trafficking, and sexual violence are impacting Ontarians, and have heard just how important frontline officers are for supporting victims. Alongside our provincial police, we are working to help those trapped in the nightmare of sex trafficking to know that their community is working together to set them free. Most of us can't imagine these crimes occurring in our backyards. I can tell you that these crimes do not discriminate. Your neighborhood is not immune. And we could not fight these crimes without the dedication, bravery, and compassion of our frontline officers. Supporting the safety of our communities and of those on the front lines is and will always be a top priority for this government. Thank you again for all you are doing, and thank you for making a difference.
Please. First question, please. Your first question comes from Randy Rath with CHCH-TV. Please go ahead.
How you doing, Randy?
Yeah, hi, Premier. I actually have a question today for the OPP Commissioner.
Absolutely.
Commissioner, there's a situation in Caledonia where there have been blockades of roadways, the occupation of a housing development. The mayor and the council have released a statement calling on the OPP to enforce court orders that order demonstrators off the streets and to cease occupying the housing development. Why hasn't the OPP enforced those court orders?
Well, the OPP work under a court-endorsed framework for police preparedness for response to Indigenous incidents, and we are working within the parameters of the injunction. Our primary responsibility is to preserve peace and maintain public safety, and that involves having negotiations, mediation, and ongoing dialogue to find sustainable solutions. We will continue to work within that framework, and we will continue to take direction from the injunctions that are in place to fulfill our legal responsibilities. Thank you.
Follow up?
Premier, the other day I asked you about this, and you said that essentially it was completely unlawful what was going on, and that you called on the demonstrators to cease what they're doing.
Yeah.
Do you find the OPP Commissioner's response acceptable to this? And are you satisfied that everything's being done that could be done, that can be done to stop the situation down there?
Well, I have all the confidence in the world in the Commissioner and all the OPP. Matter of fact, I have confidence in all the police officers across Ontario. I want to make it very clear, I don't direct the police. I have the confidence that the Commissioner will follow the injunctions that have been put forward by the courts. But what I was saying, I have zero tolerance for anyone throwing rocks at our OPP, throwing outhouses over the bridge. I had a good conversation in person with Chief Hill. I had him down to Queen's Park. He fully understands and agrees. It's always better to discuss these things, work them out, make sure there is no violence, and we can move forward, because it doesn't benefit anyone. It doesn't benefit Six Nations. It doesn't benefit the Indigenous community as a whole. And it's better to sit down, talk about it, and work things out. And that's what we plan on doing. It's very, very important. We go down that avenue and continue with dialogue. That's how I feel. But I have zero tolerance, and I don't care who you are. You start attacking our police, I'll come out swinging. Simple as that.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Sean Jeffords with the Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
Hi, Sean.
Good afternoon, Premier. Wanted to ask you a couple of questions about schools again today.
Sure.
Earlier this morning, MPP Hunter wrote Minister Elliott and asked for proactive COVID testing in schools located in virus hotspots around the province. I'm wondering if the province has any plans to conduct that kind of testing, and if not, what is the government's plan regarding COVID testing in schools?
Yeah, we do have a plan for testing, proactive testing right across the board. We have a well-oiled machine with Dr. Heyer and the public health. We've been getting probably about 25,000 upwards to 30,000 tests every single day. And I've made it very clear to all ministers on our cabinet, nothing is more important right now than making sure we have a safe environment for the kids going back to school. And I've always said we have the safest, most cautious approach in the entire country. We have 500 nurses that we're hiring to go into these hotspots and do the testing as well. We have our health team on full alert. So we're doing a lot of things that no other province is doing in the entire country. They're taking our lead on things, but it's not, I want to emphasize this, as much as we put the plan forward, it's not the Doug Ford plan, the Stephen Lecce plan. It's a plan put together through the advice of some of the best doctors in the country on our health table and our chief medical officer, along with sick kids and other hospitals, be it UHN or CHEO in Ottawa.
Follow up?
On the testing resources specifically, I'm wondering if you intend to access any of the resources that you set aside in your latest fiscal statement, the reserves for healthcare, when it comes to ensuring that testing is available, specifically if there's a demand for it as school starts, as parents begin to take their children into the assessment centers, and we see a spike.
Yeah, well, we're ready. We're ready for those spikes, and we're prepared. We have, again, a well-oiled machine. We've learned a lot, all of us, as a province, as a people, right across this province. You look back in June, we had over 400 cases, and now, to the exception of maybe a couple days, we're under 100 cases, and I give all the credit to the frontline healthcare workers and the people of Ontario. They followed the protocols and guidelines from the Chief Medical Officer, and they deserve all the credit in the world. We're doing well, but we can't take our eye off the ball for a second.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Lucas Meyer with News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Lucas.
Thank you very much. Sort of on education as well, Premier, to start. We spoke to the Ontario School Bus Association today because of this ongoing issue of a driver recruitment shortage, even more concerning this year. And he mentioned that one of the issues is a backlog of licensing to get drivers the go-ahead. Is there a way to fast-track this process to make sure there are enough drivers in September? And like work is being done with the city to find extra space for classrooms, would the government consider reaching out to the TTC, Go Transit, to see if drivers there could assist in transportation needs because volume is low right now?
Well, Lucas, I think that's a great idea, but right now, as long as we can move forward and expedite the protests, and not protests, the process, I should say, and I'll talk to the minister about it because it's absolutely critical. We're putting $40 million more into making sure that we're cleaning the buses. We've increased spending on buses to $1 billion. And when they first told me $1 billion, I was taken aback. I'm thinking $1 billion, but that's what we're doing. We're putting $1 billion, making sure the kids get from their home to school in the safest manner as possible. But I don't believe we should sit back. We need to expedite the process. So I'll jump on that, Lucas, and we'll have an answer for you by the end of the day.
Follow up.
Thank you. Premier, and on an unrelated education question, back in April, the government changed its construction time rules. 24 hours for essential infrastructure, but also extended hours for things like condos, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. There's a rather comical, but nonetheless, a serious video of a Torontonian kind of frustrated about this, how late it's going, and how it's really out of the city's hands. I'm wondering, since these changes were made in April, and we will have more people getting back to work in September, do you think it may be time to relook at those construction rules in terms of those specific time windows?
Yeah, I heard about the video, and I my heart goes out to this guy. He's hearing the banging and till late hours at night. I fully appreciate that, and I don't disagree with him. But the scenario we're facing right now, we have to get people into homes. The number one priority is to put a roof over someone's head, and we had a tremendous backlog through COVID. So we put that order forward, and hopefully when we get caught up, we'll take that order back. But I have to make sure that we protect our construction workers too. Part of that was to make sure the construction companies and the workers are able to separate their start times, so we don't have so many workers all at once. So they're splitting the shifts up, one during the day, one in the afternoons to the evenings. So we'll do everything we can. I hear them loud and clear, but we have to make sure the priority is to get roofs over people's heads there.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Robert Benzie with the Toronto Star. Please go ahead.
Hi, Robert.
Hi, Premier. I was wanting to ask you about your relationship with the federal government these days. I mean, it strikes me that earlier this week, Mr. Trudeau announced the new cabinet, and you were one of the leading voices on Chrystia Freeland being this new finance minister and how this is a good thing for the country. It struck me that your relationship with the federal Liberals has certainly changed a lot than this time last year when they were political kind of foes of yours. I just wondered if you could speak to that and why you think that's happened and how is it good or bad or indifferent for the rest of us.
Well, I think it's good. When I was messaging Chrystia, that was last night before, I told her, I said, Chrystia, you and I are blazing a new trail that this country's never seen before, and I think it's a good trail we blaze because when I'm out on the street, so many people say that's great that the municipalities and the province and the federal government are all working together. When we're going through this pandemic, it's critical that we're all pulling in the same direction. Will we agree on everything? No, we won't agree on everything, but there's so many more things we can agree on and work together. And I could give you 10 pages of all the times Christy and I have talked late at night and saying, hey, let's get this done. And we're able to move things forward and cut down on all the red tape and all the bureaucracy to make sure that Canadians are safe, Ontarians are safe moving through this pandemic. So I consider Christy a good friend, and she'll always be a good friend. I forget about this green, orange, red, blue parties. You know, I've never believed in that. And I said yesterday, don't get me wrong, I'm proud to be the leader of the PC party, but I can assure you our family doesn't get elected by just PC people. We get elected by traditional Liberals, traditional NDPers, and I'm sure the odd greener there too. So I'm out there helping the people, and that's the way it should be. Put the political, all that political nonsense behind us. We get more things done a lot quicker.
Follow up.
On a subject related to this announcement, some teachers are on social media saying, why aren't you hiring more teachers? You're hiring 200 more police officers. We're in a pandemic. We certainly are going to probably need more teachers since there'll be fewer kids in classrooms. Why not hire more teachers, or is there a plan to hire more teachers as we look to the back to school plan next month?
Well, Rob, every board is responsible to hire their teachers. We put money forward. Not only did we put 30 million forward, and but first of all, let me go back. I don't like the idea of comparing apples and oranges. First of all, two separate groups. But in saying that, if they do want to compare it, we're giving teachers 30 million right off the hop to hire more teachers. And then on top of that, we have the reserves. Toronto alone has over $100 million of reserves to hire more teachers. That's 1,000 more teachers if they spend $60 million, a little over 1,000. So the reserves are there for the rainy day fund. And no, I haven't seen a storm like this in quite some time in my lifetime. So let's use the reserves and hire more teachers. And we all work together. We're going to get through this. Put all this, the teachers unions have to put all this political nonsense behind them. I'm serious. Like, just put it behind you guys. Let's work together. I want to work with you, and let's move forward and get the kids back in the classroom as safe as possible. As I've always said, Rob, every single person in this country has been working together, and we need to continue working together, and we've been listening as well. So let's get the job done and work together. And I got a quote. Sean Monteith from Hastings Prince Edward District School Board. So he's the director out there, Rob. And what a positive message. I'm not going to read out his message, but you should go online and hear his message. You want to talk about leadership? And I encourage, because we have some great directors, but I need all the directors to take the same approach as Sean has. Is about, basically in less words, is, folks, we understand the concern, and I understand the concern about the parents and the anxiety. But he has this one. They're ready to teach. They're ready to teach safely. They're ready to protect the kids and the teachers. So let's move forward and work together, and we'll get through this. And the thing is, go back to the beginning of the pandemic. Look at what the grocery store clerks that were dealing with hundreds of people at the peak of this pandemic. They were sitting there checking hundreds of people out. Look at the truck drivers. Look at our great police officers, firefighters, EMS. Like, everyone stepped up. Every single person in this country has stepped up for the call of duty, per se. And, now I'm asking the teachers union. Now it's your turn. Step up. I love our teachers. I've said that over and over again. We have some of the greatest teachers in the country. The teachers union have to come to the table here and work with us. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, last question.
Your final question comes from Nathan Taylor with Aurelia Matters. Please go ahead.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Premier. Welcome back to Aurelia.
Oh, beautiful here.
I just had a question around the timing of today's announcement. Did the pandemic have anything to do with it, or was there something that prompted